1. Fun story from a few nights back. Audit shifts are always interesting, and some people we get are fun. It was 1:30 a.m., and I had just one more arrival left. Usually I cut it off at 1 a.m. and start my audit, but the last arrival was a semi-regular guest, so I was going to give him a bit more time. I also was training an FDA on the audit, so I had another person with me, thankfully. We have 2 automatic sliding doors in the hotel, with the in-between space holding our luggage carts. I lock the inside door at midnight, and I have a button at the front desk to open the inside door. I hear the outside door open up, and I quickly peek around the corner to see who it is. I thought I recognized him as our semi-regular, so I opened up the door for him. As this guy staggered in with blood all over his gray hoodie, I quickly realized that he was not the semi-regular, and realized my mistake. My hotel isn't situated in an amazing part of town, so I should have been more careful. He hobbled to the front desk and said, "Hey, I'm bleeding out and need a room." And then threw down a credit card on the counter and looked like he was about to fall over. Obviously high on something, I told him I'm sorry, but we're booked for the night. Complete lie. I didn't want to sell a guy a room. Gave me the creeps. And that he would have to look somewhere else. He suddenly looked panicked and pulled up his hoodie sleeve. I wish I hadn't seen what I saw. The inside of his elbow looked like a huge chunk of his skin, and bits of meat underneath were torn away. It was 4 inches around and vaguely heart-shaped, and I could see the red blood welling out of it and dripping onto the floor. My previous job had been caregiving for elderly dementia and Alzheimer's patients, so blood and gore didn't bother me much, but this was a lot. My coworker was horrified. He kept repeating, "Please, I need a room. I'm dying." I responded, "No, I'm calling an ambulance for you." He said, "Okay, cool. Thank you." And walked out the door as I pulled out my cell phone from my back pocket and started dialing 911. I heard both sliding doors open and close as I talked with the operator about what I'd just experienced. About a minute later, still talking with 911, my coworker pointed to the sliding doors. I looked around the corner, and the guy was walking in again. Knowing better, I kept the inside door shut and kept my eye on him while talking with the operator, updating her on every move. He went crazy, banging on the sliding doors and begging for a room, yelling over and over that he was dying and bleeding out. Eventually, after about 5 minutes of banging on the doors, he left, and shortly after my conversation with the 911 operator ended too. I never saw him again, or any police or ambulances for that matter. I kept checking out all of the hotel exterior windows every 15 minutes for an hour afterward and still didn't see anything. I kept thinking about how badly that could have gone if either me or my coworker were alone with him. I'm a pretty scrawny AFAB person, while my coworker having a physical disability, where your hand is basically on your elbow, I can't remember what it's called, and also being 5'4", he could have easily hurt either of us if he started flipping out in the lobby. I'm just grateful that nothing bad happened, and that no guests showed up during that. 2. Now, this is second-hand information as I'm off today, but the shuttle driver filled me in on the details since this will be my problem tomorrow. 2 FDA agents are working first and morning shift, without AGM doing breakfast and shuttle driver. Now, we're an airport property, and the shuttle runs to the terminals every 30 minutes starting at 6 a.m. When you check in, you're asked if you need the shuttle for the morning to go to the airline. If you say yes, you pick your time slot, and we let guests know that we leave on the top and bottom of the hours. We don't call rooms, nor do we send alerts. We treat guests like responsible adults, which is our first mistake, admittedly, and expect them to abide by the time they themselves schedule. To be down here before the shuttle takes off, to load up and leave. That was not the case. So, a family of 5 has the shuttle scheduled for 7 a.m. Nothing out of the ordinary there, but from what I was told by the shuttle driver, the family of 5 came down late for the shuttle. You see, our shuttle drivers are known to leave exactly on the dot, meaning that our shuttle driver left out of there at 7 a.m. due to the fact that she had 5 other people on the shuttle already that were designated to go to the airline starting at 7. It has gotten to the point where some guests, in a passive-aggressive manner, sometimes will tell the driver and say to them, "Oh, you're the shuttle driver that leaves on time, aren't you?" As if the driver leaving on time is a detriment to them. Your inability to not come down on time or schedule is not a fault of mine, nor is that a fault of the driver. But anyway, it is my understanding that the family not only came down late and saw that the shuttle was gone, and was informed that the next shuttle would be at 7:30. However, our shuttle driver can take them a little bit earlier if they're in a rush to go. Our shuttle drivers will sometimes take people at the 15-minute mark if they know that it is not busy at the airline and they can do it. This apparently was not good enough for the family, and the mother especially decided to make it her entire mission to berate the desk and 2 agents there for letting the shuttle leave on time without them. When the driver got back, she then redirected her anger and entitlement towards the driver. Mind you, the agent was able to text the driver and tell them ahead of time, along with saying that the family was rude and disrespectful and to be ready for the bombardment of complaints they were going to hurl at her. According to our driver, the agent who was getting the beratement and the look of absolute disgust with the family, along with other guests, who seemed to dogpile on and not do anything to stop the woman's tirade of entitled selfishness. Apparently, even the toddler had the nerve to say that they were going to be late for their flight because the driver left without them, to the driver herself. Needless to say, the agent quit 30 minutes later that the family was done, which also caused our shuttle driver to be 10 minutes behind in runs, which affected people who were on time for their shuttles. We always say that the summertime is the worst time to get guests at hotels. Our prices are very low, because our state is not a place a lot of people would prefer to travel to for their vacation. This time of year, we usually get the entitled people who only pay $100, if not a little less, for a room, since most of them are third-party bookers, and act as though we owe them the world and then some, and if we do not foresee their problems and handle it before they even get there, they feel that they have a right to treat us as though we are the issue, and we are the reason behind their problem. You being incapable of getting down for the shuttle on time is your issue. You blaming the front desk for the fact that the shuttle left on time is unacceptable and unnecessary. You having the nerve to take it out on somebody who literally is doing nothing but their job is ridiculous and an entitlement that I don't understand. And people wonder why nobody wants to work in customer service. 3. A few years ago, we had one of those church groups in-house, in town as part of some retreat or conference or some such. Now mind you, I'm not particularly religious, but I'm not really bothered by it. I know how these groups are. We get a few each year like this, and so when their tour bus dropped them back off at the hotel around midnight, I knew to expect mostly a bunch of old, sweet ladies freshly invigorated with the word of Jesus to come in and say the usual, "Bless you and praise the Lord," and such on their way through the lobby up to their rooms. I do the needful, smile and nod, "Yes, you too," and such. Invariably, there's always the stragglers who don't quite make it all the way to their rooms, and congregate down in my lobby for a few minutes to exchange their last amens and let us be thankfuls with each other, and on occasion they'll stop by the desk and try to get me to pray with them. As usual, I nod my head and excuse myself and thank them for trying. They finish up, and eventually most of them go upstairs. But there was this one guy. So dude was probably one of the last guys to get off the bus, and he's that one guy that just didn't fit the rest of this scene. Like I said, this was mostly a bunch of old ladies, a few that were probably just that side of middle age at the youngest, and maybe 1 or 2 old guys who were clearly there because their wives were. This one guy, he's probably like mid-30s, totally by himself. So, after all these other folks go upstairs, he's kinda down looking around my lobby, poking around in my sundry shop. I approached my sundry shop window to acknowledge him if he needed anything, and he said, "No, just kind of looking around. Paused for a moment, and then hit me with the dreaded words. Actually, I don't really need anything. I just wanted to stop by and let you know. Jesus loves you. Have you ever had one of those moments where you felt something stupid coming on, and you knew it was stupid, and you shouldn't do it, but you do it anyway? Well, I'm not a comedian, although sometimes I may think I am. I think that's how this started, and I think I thought it was going to be funny. I responded to the guy. He pronounces it Jesus. There was this dumbfounded look on his face, as he kind of muttered out, huh? What? Yeah, the maintenance guy, his name is Jesus. I know he's got a crush on me, but I don't go that way, you know. You can probably imagine guys just standing there trying to figure out how to respond to me. I swear I heard the train wreck in his head when he tried to reset. He goes, No, Jesus, Lord Savior, you know, God. Oh, that, I responded disparagingly. You'd think most people would get the concept by now that I wasn't particularly interested, but he kept going anyway. He loves you, and he just wants you to know that. Of course, you think I'd know better than to egg him on. But that's what I did anyway. Oh yeah? What makes you think that? He told me he loves you and wants to be part of your life. Now is where this story gets good, since I had him going. So you talk to him, and he tells you these things? Do you talk to him often? Yes, he's always speaking to us. Is he speaking to you right now? Yes, he wants me to tell you he loves you. I see. So when he speaks to you, he asks you to do things for him. The question caught him off guard, and he gets that dumbfounded look on his face. What? He mumbles again. So I continue too. Does Jesus ever ask you to do things you don't want to do? Well, I don't believe Jesus would ever ask us to do something bad, he replied. I grabbed a piece of paper and a pen and pretended to start writing something. And are you afraid of the consequences if you were to disobey Jesus or not do what he tells you? No, this guy's just silent. The dumbfounded look from before has turned into a blank stare. The wheels in his head are turning, but the response he is looking for just isn't there. And I can tell he's just waiting for my next volley. So I put my pen down and look him in the eye, and ask with the most authoritative tone I've ever spoken. Are there any children staying in the room with you? Whatever wheels were turning in his head before have grinded to a halt, and the machine is broken. I can see his slack jaw tighten as he wants to respond, but all he finally manages to get out is, no kids. Well, that's probably for the best, I said as I finally diffused him. Well, I have a lot of work to do, so I should get to it. You should head upstairs and get some rest. Yeah, I guess I'd probably better, he said, kind of stumbling over his words. I remember his eyebrows were doing this weird twitching thing at this point. Don't know why I noticed that, but the mental image sticks with me. He went upstairs and I never saw him again. I sent my manager a message the next day to apologize because I was fairly certain that somehow this event was going to generate a complaint, or at least an email or an unpleasant phone call. I figured I'd have to explain myself and face consequences somehow. But turns out no such complaint, phone call, or email ever came through. Story made its rounds through the hotel staff for a while. I was never reprimanded. However, I did promise to try and behave better in the interest of not generating such complaints in the future either. The running joke around the hotel now, when we get a crazy guest and we're joking with each other, is to pick up a pen and pretend we're writing something while asking, "Are there any children with you?" Hope you enjoyed that one. 4. So I'm working at the reception of a smallish 71 units hotel in a quiet part of a busy seaside resort. Our hotel is located next to an artificial lake, which is more of a glorified pond, really. A leftover from the days when local authorities decided to drain part of the swamp area in order to develop it. The hotel itself is divided into 3 buildings, The main building with reception, lobby, bar, a la carte restaurant, buffet room, luggage room, and courtesy showers, plus 9 premier studios on the first floor, which is located off the shore of said lake, and 2 bigger buildings consisting of a ground floor and the first floor where our apartments are located, which either have pool or garden view. So yesterday I checked in an older couple, late 60s, early 70s. Everything went fine until they asked me about the apartment's location. I said it was on the first floor, and the husband seemed to be happy, but the woman asked me if they could have an apartment on a higher floor. I told her that we only have ground floor and first floor, which she begrudgingly accepted. So I sent them on their merry way. But I knew that they would show up again because they were allocated a garden view, because people like these always want pool view if their room faces the garden, or vice versa. They're never happy. Lo and behold, they were back 10 minutes later to complain about the view and demanding a view of the pool, or so I thought. Wrong. They demanded a lake view apartment. Well, she did. He was trudging behind. I then informed them that there are no apartments with a view of the lake, since all lake view rooms were studios, not apartments, and that their tour operator hadn't contracted any studios with a view of the lake, so I couldn't move them, even if there were any vacancies of said studios, which there honestly weren't. You, the wife, going into full Karen mode. Listen to me, young man. I always take this one as a compliment since I'm pushing 50. Our travel agency promised us an apartment with a lake view, and you could at least tell us where we can find the ladder going into the lake. I told them that there is no such ladder, and that I've never seen anybody swimming in the lake in the decade that I've been working here. So you mean that we are supposed to be swimming in that tiny pool of yours? Our travel agency promised us that we could swim in the lake. I said that there is still the option of going to the beach and having a swim there. We are located on an island, after all. But she wouldn't have any of it. The 400-meter walk to the beach was way too far for her, and that she would be contacting her local travel agent to find them a different hotel. I was about to say that if the travel agent let them down in suggesting our hotel to spend their holidays, they'd probably F up a second time, but I only said, "You're free to do so. Don't let us detain you any further." To which they stormed off. Well, she did. Her husband just turned around and followed her. And this is why nobody should ever believe in what your travel agency tells you or promises you. Always book directly with the hotel. 5. I can't make this up. Okay, backstory. I work at a hotel on the beach in a busy Texas tourist location. The guest booked through a third party. It's a Saturday, and the only 2 employees on property are myself and my other desk agent. We don't have management on the weekend. The guest came into the hotel about 5 to check in. Yeah, I've got a room under named Namerson. Okay, sir, let me see here. Let me see. Check-in started at 3, whereas my room was so hard. I already really don't like this man. We have a full lobby, it's a sold-out night, and this guy has the patience of a rabid dog. Yes, I found your reservation here. I just need your ID and the card you used to book. I'm in board shorts and I just came from the beach. Do you see a wallet on me? Well, sir, I'm sorry about that, but without those, I won't be able to check you in. This ridiculous, stupid Guest goes out to get his wallet. The 3 others in his group continue to block my desk, so I wasn't able to move to the next guest in line. Here. Guest tosses both cards at me, so I slide him his reg card with more attitude than I meant to. One of the other 3 in the group pipes up. What, do you have a problem, incompetent? I'm very angry right now with these people. I want them out of my face and in a room before this gets out of hand. About this time, Namerson finishes his reg card and wants to know where the one for his second room is. I then start to explain that he only had one under his name. Then the girlfriend steps in and says it's under her name, not his. So I start looking for the second reservation and I can't find it. Thinking it may have been cancelled, I select all reservations for the day, and I still don't see it. I'm sorry, ma'am, but I don't have that reservation. Are you sure it's under that name? I paid for 2 reservations and I'm getting 2 rooms. You need to figure this out. Okay, sir, no need to yell. "Do you have the email confirming the second room?" I say to the lady. When she starts looking, Namerson slid me a phone. "Right here, my confirmation email. Now find my room." This is so dumb. You people need to figure out what you're doing. My other deskier finished up with the last group in the lobby and now is attempting to help me out of this mess. He instantly noticed that the email is from a different hotel down the road. When we explained this, the man got confused and upset. Not a good combo for him. "Why would your stupid website book me a different hotel?" I'm pretty sure I got some joy out of this part. "Well, sir, you went through a third-party website and not our website. This is what happens when you go through those kind of sites. Things get messed up, and now we're sold out, so I don't have a second room for you." "Well, fine, I'll just call the other hotel and cancel. We can all stay in my one room here. This is ridiculous. You contract out to these people at third party. You all use the same pictures, and it's a scam, man. Y'all are just a scam." He calls the other hotel, and I assume they tell him it's prepaid and can't cancel, because he turns to me and says that he wants a refund. "I want my money back. We're not staying here. We're going to the other hotel, so give me my money." "Sir, when you prepay on the third-party site, they have your money, not us. You need to call them and request a refund. I don't have your money."
"What do you mean you don't have my money? You have a cash drawer, don't you? Pull out my money and give it to me."
"Sir, that's not how things work. I can't just pull out cash from the drawer."
"Fucking A, you can. If I come back with a gun, I bet you open that cash drawer real fast. I know how to get my refund."
At this point, my other desk had left to deal with an innocent at the pool, so I was alone with these people at the desk. I'm doing everything to maintain my composure, but I'm starting to shake. I'm overwhelmed with anger. The guests decide to stay, but want to go to the other hotel to get that room as well. They all get up and start to leave the building. Namerson turns back and asks when checkout was.
"So I didn't check in at 3, I checked in at 5, so I get to check out late, right?"
"No, sir, checkout is 11 a.m.
"Yeah, no, I'ma stay later. 11 just won't work."
And walks out. I instantly walked away from the counter to try and get a breath. I was full of emotion and just needed to clear my mind a sec. My other deskie had been texting my manager about the people, seeing if we could kick them out for the rudeness. I stayed to explain the gun reference, and he went white. My manager was alerted, and she said we should have called the cops sooner. So we called the local police department on the non-emergency line and requested an officer at the hotel for an eviction, and for personal safety for the time. It took cops about 10 minutes to get to the property. I explained everything and told the police that we wanted to file a criminal trespassing charge against him, and that he was no longer accepted as a guest at the hotel. While we were having this conversation, the cop realized that he had pulled the guest over earlier for driving a golf cart illegally down the highway. So the cop already kinda knew this guy. About this time, here he comes walking in with his luggage. The cop told him he was being removed from the property, and the guest flipped out. Started cussing me and the cop. Said this was all about race and that we are white, so we had to team up on the Hispanic. The cop told him he could leave on his own or in handcuffs. The guy looked at me one last time and said,
"This is your fault. You ruined my vacation."
I waited like an hour before I left the property because I didn't want to be followed. It was so far the worst experience I've had in desk. Yeah, some people can be rude or upset, but to threaten the clerk with the potential of there being a gun involved? That's crossing a line. I'm so glad it didn't escalate into something bigger. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Coahw, episode 90. That stands for Confessions of a Hotel Worker if you're new, and thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. I'd appreciate it if you take this here video and you share it with all your friends and family and loved ones and hated ones and 2s and 3s and 4s and so on. Okay, this puts us at the weekend, day of uploading, of course. And I don't think there's any shout-outs today, possibly one tomorrow. So that brings us straight to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is, who would you like to narrate the story of your life? For me, it's a tough one. It's kind of a toss-up between Stephen Fry and Neil Gaiman. To be honest with you, in that battle, Stephen Fry would probably win out. So let's say Stephen Fry for me. A very gentle, pleasant voice, capable of infinite sarcasm when required, and he can also be a grumpy bugger when it's needed. Perfect for me, I think. Let me know who you think. It could just be your favorite, or it could be someone you think suits your your style of living. Is that a good way to put it? Your attempt at existence? Okay. Let me know what you think in a comment below. Okay, and with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourself.